So now we will be talking about the private players who are there in infrastructure projects. So there are majority players currently in India. So few of them you would have definitely known the Adani group. They have like really not left one particular sector that has been there in India. So they are acquiring the ports part, they are acquiring the infrastructure, they are acquiring the real estate also. So in such a way, there are very huge players who are actually actively participating in majority of the Indian infrastructure projects. So we have the IRB infrastructure development. So they have this project from Mumbai to Pune or Pune to Nasik. All of these major projects where most of the highways, that is like NH8 and the bypass roads, all of these major projects with respect to highways, basically, it has been taken by them. Apart from them, we have this Ashok Buildcon Limited. So they are also majority into the bridge construction. Apart from bridge, they are also into the national highway construction projects. So even they are handling major projects of them. Then definitely the Hindustan construction company, where they have projects of the Bandra Worli ceiling, which is already in operation currently. So those are one of the major projects that has been handled by them. And apart from that, they are definitely in hold with from this Rishikesh, that new lane that has been coming. That is one of the projects that has been handled by HCC. And then one more major private player in the infrastructure goes for the NCC, that is Nagarjuna Construction Company Limited. So they also they are also into majority of the highways, that highway construction that has already been a part of. So the Uttar Pradesh Outer Ring Road, it may be Hyderabad growth corridors, or the Agra Lucknow Expressways. So these are the major projects that has been handled by the Nagarjuna Construction Company. And which is very obvious, we have the Larsen and Toubro, that is the L&T Constructions. So they have definitely dealt with a lot of 6-lane bridges over Ganga that has been there. Apart from that, they are into the Hyderabad metro lanes, and also they have contributed. So they have their major contribution on the Statue of Unity. So these are the major projects where Larsen and Toubro have also contributed, and one of the biggest private players in India. Apart from these big private players, we do have others, like we have Reliance Infrastructures, Afcons, then there is going to be IRCON. So the IRCON International Limited, basically they deal with most of the turnkey infrastructure projects. And then we have JP, DLF. So the companies that has been mentioned, Tata, of course, is one of the major players in the infrastructure sector. So they are dealing with the majority of the huge projects that is definitely contributing towards nation. So Shapoorji Pallonji have also stepped into the infrastructure development. So these are other private players. This is just to give an idea which are the players who are actually actively there in the market currently. So being a site engineer, definitely you should know the competitors, who are the ones who are actually being fighting for similar projects that you have been working on. So keeping all of those things into aspects, we are giving out who are the various private players who will be taking part in infrastructure projects. So now I will be telling you what are the scope of work with respect to the different subsectors in infrastructure projects. Firstly, let's go with highway construction. So here, definitely we have the architectural consultants for the design review purpose. So in highway construction, what exactly happens is, firstly, the geotechnical investigation, the landscaping. So what are the various things that will be coming across the whole land that has been spread over? And if there is a land parcel that has been owned by any public, so how exactly you can transfer that? So what are the legalities that has been there in order to acquire that particular land? All of these things will be the initial phases of the highway construction. So after that, moving forward, we have the architectural consultants. So architectural consultants basically for the designing of the whole road, the pavement design. So the lifespan of this particular pavement, whether it should be a rigid or a flexible pavement, or it should be a white topping or should it be a bituminous road. So all of these design is where the architectural consultants would be coming into the picture. And moving forward, not only these, when it comes to highway construction, it's not just those 4 lanes of highway. Apart from that, there is service road. What are the drainage systems that is to be constructed, and how the partition between every single lane is to be done. All of these designing will be coming into the picture. So from one station to another station, what I mean by that is from one stop to another stop, we have all of these controls that will be taking part with the toll plazas, obviously, where people don't really like to pay because of the high charges that has been there over here. But keeping those things aside, definitely for the maintenance purpose, the toll plazas have been constructed. So the whole construction of the toll plazas also comes into the scope of work for a highway construction. Then, like I mentioned, it is construction of the lane axis, and then how that highway is been controlled. So what are the different bifurcations and the divisions that should be happening from one lane to another? Every of these aspects will be coming under the highway construction. Then moving forward, we have the repair and the maintenance works. So in the repair and the maintenance works, what exactly happens is, so once the highway road is already open, it is open for traffic, and they will be collecting the toll plazas, and all of these things will be definitely happening. But keeping all of these things aside, 3 years, 4 years down the lane, if there is any rutting, or if there is any defaults, or if there is any crackings that has been taking place in any of these highways, that is where the repair and the maintenance works definitely come to the picture. And there shouldn't be unnecessary potholes, or there shouldn't be any interference of any of the villagers that is coming inside. All of these things definitely matters, and it comes under the scope of repair and maintenance works. And then we have construction of the service roads. So service road works, as I mentioned, service road is the one that will be connecting, say for example, highway will be crossing across multiple cities or the towns, even few villages it will be crossing across. So from one village to another, if there should be an accessibility, it is not really ideal to take a highway and disturbing the whole traffic there. That is where the service roads comes into the picture. And in the service roads, definitely they're not going to cost any of these toll plazas or for the maintenance, because that is going to be a part of commuting from their local vicinity. And then we have improvement and maintenance of the bypasses. So as I told, there are 2 towns. So there should be a connectivity between 2 towns. Just in case if the traffic or the demand for this particular road is growing day by day, then definitely they have to divert this particular traffic by having the bypass roads, where the traffic can be diverted, and this whole highway junction will not be disturbed. In all of these particular work will be coming under the highway construction part. So now we have with respect to the railway construction. So all the site engineers who are working with the railway related contracts, or even if you will be working for the clients also. So most of these particular works you will be familiar with, but for the ones who are not really working at railway construction is where I will actually be telling you all of these details. So firstly, definitely, which is very similar to the highway construction, the geotechnical investigation is the primary goal, is the primary route where the land surveying, soil investigation, all of these things will be coming into the picture. And then moving forward, we have architectural finishing. So HVAC is nothing but air ventilation and air conditioning. You might be wondering right now for a railway construction why HVAC is coming. So over here, HVAC will actually come into the picture for the construction of the railway stations, because there will be passenger waiting areas. So there will be parking lounges. So how to divert that particular traffic, where exactly the pick and drop should be happening. All of these particular planning will be happening there. MEP works is nothing but the mechanical, electrical, and the plumbing works. So the washroom facilities that has been provided at the railway stations, and definitely the electrical supply and the water facilities that is to be provided there. All of these things will be coming under the MEP works. Then we have the double stack container movement planning. So double stack container movement planning is nothing but when a railway station construction is actually taking place, there will be temporary offices that will be built, and based on that, we will be having the container offices. So for that particular movement, that particular stacking, and also there is a container movement, the goods that will be traveling from one part to another. So there are container movements that will be taking. So sometimes what happens, the lane that is completely designed, if that particular lane is taking only for the goods movement, only for the stack container movement, there we will be have to planning a separate ideology for the double stack container movement for that particular rail, precisely for the container movement. And then we have the construction of railway embankments. So railway embankments, as it is mentioned there, it is about the platform designing. So how the length of this particular platform. So what is the frequency of the passengers who will be taking from that particular railway station, and what is the different connectivity that has been there from one particular railway station to another. It can be local or sub-local. Then we have the leftover or the new works of major bridges. So platform wise, railway station wise, railway lane wise, it's all clear now. So now it comes for the crossovers, or it comes over crossing the river banks. So where exactly this major bridges comes into the picture. So definitely if there is a train that will be crossing across from one valley, from one bank of the river to the other side of the river, that particular bridge construction also will be coming under the railway construction part of it. So this complete structure, or even if it requires a road come railway bridge, bridges that has already been there currently in operations. Maybe we have the walkover bridges also. So now when there is a railway networking that is going straight, but there are 4 to 5 railway lanes that has been there across. So it will be difficult for the public to move from one embankment, that is from one platform to another. So that is where the walkover bridges, all of these things comes into the picture, and all of the scope of work will definitely come under the railway construction works itself. Then we have the provision of the automatic block signaling. So in this automatic block signaling, what majorly happens is, this is for the crossing purpose. So there is change of railways, change of railway lanes, where the particular movement of the train will be crossing over to another lane. So here is where the automatic block signaling comes into the picture. So all of that designing part, so where one train will be waiting for the crossover lane so that the other lane is actually going to be free, and then it can make a swap towards another lane. So this a whole of this particular planning will all come under the automatic block signaling. And then moving forward, we have for the railway level crossing bridges. Like I mentioned, previously it was for the walk over bridges, but then we have one particular platform, or where is a small city, in a small city or a town, this railway lane will be crossing over. So over here, that railway lane should be leveled up, where it is connecting in the normal road. So if there is the road network that is happening horizontally, and if it is the railway network that is happening vertically, there is all the crossing of traffic that will be happening with respect to roadways and railways. So here the railway leveling crossing and the bridge related work, if it is required for that particular scope of work, all of these particular works will be coming under the railway construction. Then we have to be moving forward. So this is all with respect to the metro construction. So now coming to metro construction, this is completely a different scope of work that we will be dealing over here. So railways are completely different. So because the amount of passengers that has been traveling from one place to another, the distance that will be traveled from one place to another, it is all on a larger scale. When it comes to metro construction, it is within the urban city vicinity. So where the commuting will definitely be happening within the vicinity of the city. So here the scope of work, how it will be going forward is, there will be a bidding or the packages of the phase by viaduct metro stations. So in metro construction also, there are two types of construction that will be taking place. One is the viaduct construction. Viaduct are the above level stations that has been there. So above the ground level, where the pillars are have to be constructed, and then there is going to be segments that will be joined together, and then we have the stations above the ground. One more, we have the underground metro stations. So in the underground metro stations, we'll have to be coming across the tunnels. So we'll have to be making use of the tunnel boring machines, that is the TBM, and then and then it actually have to be passing across. So all of these are the two different ways of metro construction that will be taking place. Then coming to the station construction, that and including these interiors. So for every metro station, say for example, one metro station to another, it will be having a span of about 3 to 5 kilometers is the whole span that will be there. Basically from one area to another area of city where people will be commuting. So when of this metro station is this small, the number of metro stations that comes across also is going to be more. And the number of people, especially during the peak hours and sometime during the off-peak hours, all of these things also should be considered into the picture. So whether it is the station that will be coming above the ground, or whether it will be the underground metro station, all of these station construction, including the interiors, that is the flooring wise, the kind of paints that will be used, what are the kind of light fittings, what are the electricity lines, how exactly it should be planned, how exactly these particular wire lines should be run. All of these planning will be coming under the station construction and the complete interior part of it. Then moving forward, we have for tunnel, metro, and the station construction. So in this tunnel metro station construction also, over here, what happens? Usually in underground metro station, the platform is going to be a common platform where both the metro lanes are going to be on the either side. But whereas when there is a station that is coming above, platforms will be there on either side and the metro lanes will be there in the middle. So this is a general design, and that is a small difference between the station that is there above the ground and the underground metro station. So the design of the whole metro station will be changing depending on whether the metro station is above or below the ground. And then we will be having the architectural and the design consultants. So now when it comes to the stations only, for example, there are three different levels. So one, we have the concourse level. Concourse level is where the tickets or the tokens, where it will be provided for the passengers to collect, or the security check, and all of those things will be happening. And then we have the platform level. So platform level is going to be slightly higher, and then we have something called as the railway level. So the metro lane level, where the movement has been made, is completely different. The platform will be slightly higher because it should be easy for the person to go inside and come outside the train. So all of these particular designing will be covered under the architecture and the design consultants. Then we have this precast tenders. So like I mentioned, there is so many viaducts which will be connected from one segment to another. So this is we will be getting into the complete deeper part of metro construction in our next upcoming sessions, where we have taken up metro construction as one of the major projects. So that construction sequence of activities, we will be concentrating more there. So I will be talking about the precast tenders there completely. And then we will be having the operations and the maintenance. So if there are any faults that has been there along the railways, and if there is any leakages or anything like that that is happening in the tunnels, all of these particular defaults should be regularly corrected and should be inspected. So these things will be coming under operation and maintenance. And of course, we will be having the MEP consultants. Like I mentioned again, it is for mechanical, electrical, and plumbing purposes, their own scope of work, because there will be metro station, there will be ticket counters, there will be an inside staff room for the operations who will be monitoring, and apart from that, there will be washrooms. So all of these things will be covered there. In depth, I will be talking to you about the sequence of activities of the metro construction, which is very interesting, I must really say. So that will be coming in the upcoming video, so we can talk about it there. So this ends with the kind of metro construction that we'll be dealing with. Now moving forward, this is the last one where we will be covering the airport construction works. So airport construction work, airport by itself is very aesthetic in nature. So very beautiful to walk through. There is a lot of travelers who will be moving around with their suitcases all suited up and traveling places that will be taking around. But there is similarly a lot of scope of works that will be there behind a beautiful airport that will be coming into the picture. So when there are a few of the repetitive things that has been there, or when there are a few very obvious ones, that is like the architectural and the design part, all of those things I can be skipping across, but it will be different from one scope of work to another. So here again, coming to airport construction works, we have the architectural and the engineering consultant services. So this is again the complete design of the airports, for the runways, for the crossover lanes, for the waiting of the flights, or where we'll be picking up all of these passengers. All of this particular design will be taken on the architectural and the engineering consultants. And then moving forward, we have for the runway construction. So one particular runway construction is basically, it will be considering what are the platforms, what is the frequency of the flights that will be taking place. So say for example, now either if it is a Bangalore, Delhi or Mumbai airports are comparatively going to be of a higher frequency because they are metropolitan, they are like tier one cities, they're the metropolitan main cities where a lot of international and the domestic flight that will be taking place. But whereas if we take tier 2 cities, something like if you take Pune or Mysore, the frequency compared to the tier 1 cities, it is going to be a little less. So based on that, the whole runway construction has to be planned across. So this runway will have to plan whether it should be flexible pavement or if it is a rigid pavement. We will have to plan accordingly, which is the scope of railway that will be best suited for that particular airport. And then coming to resurfacing of the runway. So this is again, if there are any faults, if there are any ruttings or any other defaults that is taken place along the runway, because that will be disturbing during the time of the takeoff. During the takeoff, there is immense amount of pressure that will be given on the runway. So a runway designing is completely different than a regular highway construction. So this is where resurfacing or complete maintenance, if there is any cracks that has been happening for the runways that is there, and for the landing purpose, where there is going to be a series of light where it will be navigating the flights to be having for it to be landed. All of these things will be coming under the resurfacing and the runway construction. Then comes the technical feasibility study. So technical feasibility study is definitely what are the technical aspects that is required for airport construction. All of these particular aspects will be coming under the technical feasibility study. So the materials, the equipments that is required, kind of construction related materials, if it is a higher graded concrete, cements, for runways, what are the grades of the concrete, and also the kind of paint that will be run across the runway. All of these things will be coming in the technical feasibility study. And then, which is very obvious, the runway part of it, also the airport part of it, where it is going to be the landscaping services. So here, when it comes to the landscaping services, it is a very huge land. So when it comes to railways or when it comes to roadways, it is a narrow gauge, or it is a narrow land that we will be completely taking into the picture. But when it comes to airport, it is a very vast land. So when runway construction is to be happening, complete leveling of that particular land has to be taken into consideration. And when it comes to airport, if there are many undulations in that particular scope of land, all of those corrections have to be made. That is where landscaping services will be coming into the picture. Else, a normal takeoff, a regular takeoff of an airport is going to be very complicated. So that is why landscaping services plays a major role. And then we have the replacement, repairs, and the civil works. Like I already mentioned, the resurfacing, replacement, all of these civil maintenance work are all comes under the maintenance part of the airport as well as the runway construction. Then coming to the parking lot provision. So the pickups and drops. So now say for example, it is a metropolitan city where the frequency of the passengers is going to be like very high. For example, we can take the Delhi airport or the Mumbai International Airport or the Bangalore airport. So here what happens, they have to be providing a lane where the passengers will be completely diverted towards the cabs where they book the online cab facilities. So towards the airport cabs, like that also the passengers should be diverted. Apart from that, the people who will be picking them up and dropping, that should be a separate lane. Or if they're making use of any public transport systems like the local buses, there also the passengers should be diverted. So the parking lot provision, and again in parking lot also few people will be taking permission for about 3 to 4 hours, or if people are taking a travel time of about 1 or 2 days. So if they want to park it right at the airport, there should be separate lanes that should be constructed. So all of this particular designing will be completely coming under the parking lot provision. Then we have the provision of the sewage treatment plant. In the sewage treatment plant, definitely for the STPs, for recycling of the water, so the kind of water that has been made use of and how it has been recycled and how it can be put it back, it can be made reuse in the toilets or for watering of the plant purpose. All of these reasons we can have provision for STPs. Then we have the developmental works. So developmental works, when there is a airport lane, so definitely there is a long way that will be coming across the airport. If there are some flyovers that is connecting towards the city and to between the airport and towards the city, all of those particular developmental work. And apart from that, if there are any lawn areas and the contractor built air traffic control rooms, all of these things will be coming under the developmental areas. And then we definitely have the interior fit outs, flooring, and the different allied works. So interior fit outs, definitely it is the complete aesthetic part of it, the kind of glasses, if it is a toughened glass, or the kind of truss that they have used, the kind of floorings that has been there, the various decks that it is provided for various different aircrafts. So that is where all of these interior fit outs, flooring, and the other allied works will be coming into the picture. So sometimes even for marketing reasons, there will be separate hoardings that will be provided inside the airport. So all of these will be designed under the interior fit out section. So this completes with majority types of subsectors that is there in infrastructure. So by now, slightly I'm assuming you will be having a clear picture of what are the scope of work that you will be having with highway construction, metro construction, a railway construction, and an airport construction.